Hello, Colts Nation. What's up, No Horsing family? Welcome back to another episode of the No Horsing Around podcast. As always, I am one of two dudes talking Colts. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Burton, and we are back off of a funky Thursday night game, kind of this weird mini bye, but we're kind of in the mode, and we kind of want to readjust a little bit, refocus, and kind of give an update on the state of the South, right? As the title tells you, state of the AFC South. Saw a lot of games. Colts got to kind of sit back on the weekend at least and kind of watch what was taking place with other AFC South teams. But before we get into that, you guys, really quickly, I want to say what I always say. Please, you guys, like, share, subscribe, comment, all those great things. Join the family. We're going to give away a jersey. Family members only. If you've signed up to qualify for that drawing, you have to sign up for a family membership. Level 1, level 2, level 3. Pick one. We love you no matter which one you pick. But it'd be great if you could do one. We're going to give away a jersey of your choice that will be drawn from the members. So at the beginning of the year, right, through our amazing sponsor, BetStamp, which you guys can use and you guys can dive into, and they will show you all the spreads, all the numbers, all the greatest kind of stuff. You can go across all the different sports books, pick which one you want to do it with. I placed a bet for the Colts to win the Super Bowl, but you could also have placed a bet for the Colts to win the division. How are we sitting with that right now, right? And if you guys want to do that too, you guys can still do that. The number's gone up and down. You can bet on how many games the Colts are still going to win. The beginning of the year was 11.5. I think it's down to like 9 now. So it might be something to kind of swoop in and go on there, go to the website you see scrolling at the bottom, type in horse. It'll help you out a little bit. But looking at the AFC South, right? Colts pick up a much needed win, 2-2-1 on the season. 0-2-1 in the division, right? With losses to the Titans, to the Jags, and a tie against the Texans in week 1. Coming through this weekend, Jaguars pick up a loss to the Texans, which was kind of, frankly, a little bit surprising. And the Titans eke out a win against the Washington Commanders, which put the Titans in the driver's seat, obviously, at 3-2, and they're head of the division. So let's kind of give a little bit of a state. We're going to give a little rundown of each team. Titans, right? They beat the Colts a little over a week ago. I still don't think they're that good a team. And listening to the Titans talk radio in Tennessee, they don't feel that way really either. They lost their over-the-top threat. They're very reliant on Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry is still really good. I was listening to somebody today, and he said, the reason the Titans are going to win a lot of games is because they have Derrick Henry and no one else does. That the Colts don't, the Jags don't, the Texans don't. That's right. The Colts do have Jonathan Taylor, who is behind him by 80 yards in rushing on the season, and he missed a game. He's ahead of him in yards per carry, ahead of him in yards per game, and has about 20 to 25 less carries. So we're not going to get into that debate, but he's very talented. Tannehill is what he is. I think their O-line is very similar to ours. I don't think it's nearly as bad as ours right now. And their D-line is great with Jeffrey Simmons. Their back end is horrendous with Caleb Farley and them, right? So they're sitting up there, and they're coming up on a really, really tough stretch that they're getting ready to hit in the month of November, where they're going to play Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. They still got to play Justin Herbert. They got to play Aaron Rodgers. And I'm naming the quarterbacks because those are quarterbacks who can take advantage of a very, very weak secondary, which is what they have. So there's that. And then let's not forget that in 2 weeks, coming off of their bye, they'll be playing the Colts. So they're sitting on top, 3-2. I think they have a lot of holes. There's no glaring great team in the division this year. It just doesn't look like it, right? And you can say if ifs and ands were pots and pans, the world would be a kitchen. If the Titans had made the kick, if the Colts had made the kick, they'd be 3-2, right? We can play that game all day long. They lost to the Giants. They got trounced by the Bills. They did beat us. So they are sitting up there. They have a lot of holes. They're not without flaws, right? Next one up is obviously the Jaguars. Jaguars thumped us in week 2, right? And they looked really good. And then they went out and they kind of drubbed the Chargers, who are looking more and more like not like the team that we thought they were going to be. Justin Herbert looks to be having a little bit of hiccups. I don't like the Chargers coach at all. I think he thinks he's playing Madden. He's making really, really stupid decisions. They're putting his team in really, really bad positions, right? But they trounced them when everyone thought that was going to be the case. And they went up to Philly and they didn't beat Philly, but they played well against Philly. Philly, by a lot of metrics and a lot of standards, is being considered probably the best team in the NFL right now. They're the only undefeated team. A.J. Brown has looked really good for them, right? Jalen Hurts has looked really good for them. Their defense has played really well. Devontae Smith has looked really good. Like they've looked really good. And they beat the Jags. So you're thinking, okay, maybe this is, you've got Doug Peterson in the building now for the Jaguars, a stable head coach. He's not Urban Meyer. Is he going to be able to fix Trevor Lawrence and what that looked like last year? It looked like that was the case. And then Trevor Lawrence looked like he had no idea what he was doing against the Houston Texans, right? And you lose a game that you probably should have won if you're the Jaguars, if you want to be taken seriously. I don't know. I still don't know. Colts meet them in 2 weeks. I mean, you're talking, or this week. I'm sorry, this week. You're talking a big time game, right? It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. They've got a lot of talent on the team. I don't think they're there yet. I ate my words. I called them hot garbage. I didn't think they were ever going to be a viable organization, that Trevor Lawrence would never overcome the dysfunctionality of that organization. And he kind of looked like he had started that. But it might be one of those things where they're a couple years away still. So they're sitting right there. So the order of the division right now, after them losing to the Texans, is you have the Titans at 1, the Colts at 2, right? The Jags at 3, and the Texans in last. I say this too when I want to talk about the Titans is a lot of Colts fans are really upset that Carson Wentz is still hurting the Colts without ever still being on the Colts. Had a chance, 3 cracks from the 1, first and goal from the 2, I'm sorry. Couldn't put it in. If he had beat the Titans, the Colts would be sitting in first in the division right now. And they're not. It's the Titans. Yet again, like I said, with the Jags, with the Titans, there's a lot of holes still. There's a lot of holes. You got the Texans, obviously. The Texans, I think there's more holes than anything. I think they're trying to figure out if Davis Mills is their quarterback. They have a pretty decent rookie running back. I think it's Dameon Pierce. He's looked pretty well. They don't really have a ton of weapons on the outside. They have Brandon Cooks. Their defense plays well. Lovie Smith is a respected coach in the pros. I know he was really bad at Illinois in college ranks, but that can be one or the other. Obviously, today, Matt Rule got fired. Great college coach. Horrible NFL coach, right? We can't all be John Harbaugh. But he's got them playing hard. It's going to be interesting. I still do think that they're devoid of enough talent to really compete. I think that they're going to end up, as we go along, water finds its level, as Zach likes to say, and they're going to kind of end themselves at the bottom of the division. All right, so this is a Colts podcast. So let's talk about the Colts. This is a Colts show. Colts are sitting in second right now, and there's a ton of questions. Like we don't know how well we feel after the Broncos win. Now you got Russell Wilson coming out saying he's torn his labrum. That's why he's not played well. You've got a huge stretch of games coming up. It started with Thursday night in Denver. You had to get right. You had to get that win. Now you go home against the Jags and then to the Titans. If you can find a way as the Colts to win those 2 games, you are sitting at 4-2-1, and you have picked up 2 very much needed wins in the division. You are then 2-2-1, right? With the final game obviously being the final game of the season against the Texans. But we don't feel great. Reports come out today. There's not a lot to talk about today. They've not really kicked back into practice, but they're still trying to figure out this O-line. The O-line looked horrendous on Thursday. You guys heard me talk about it. You heard Zach talk about it. You heard Kevin Bowen talk about it. They've got to figure it out. I don't know where it finds its level for the Colts. They're very fortunate to be in second place right now. But it goes back to, in the state of the South, at least, the division is not strong. Like, you're looking at more than likely a 9-win team taking this division. 9-8, 9-7-1, whatever it's going to be. it's not going to be a stellar look for them. So that's kind of the state of the South. Like everyone's got warts, everyone's got holes, everyone's got things that they can be excited about at this point. Heck, the Texans can even be excited because they're 1-0-1 in the division, right? And they've not looked horrible every week. So drop your comments in. Let me know what you guys think. How do you feel after these first 5 games? How do you feel about where the Colts are? How do you feel about in regards to where they're at around other people? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. As always, I love you. Zach loves you. We're out.